News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Northern Steel Buildings. A car crashed into Pineview Reservoir Tuesday morning, and the driver was able to get out uninjured before the car sank down into the water. Officials with the Weber County Sheriff's Office said they responded after witnesses saw a truck go off the road and into the water and begin to sink. While crews were rushing to the area, the driver of the vehicle was able to get out of the truck and get to shore. The driver was the only occupant in the vehicle at the time of the crash, according to Weber County officials. With help from the Weber County Marine Patrol and Search and Rescue Dive Team, the vehicle was recovered from the water. Utah Highway Patrol officials say the driver was not injured and the cause of the crash is under investigation. KBNU News Time is 4:06. KBNU weather for tonight. Partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies, and the overnight low tonight will be down around 60 degrees. Partly cloudy, slight chance of rain showers Friday morning, then a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. High temperature in the upper 80s. 30% chance of storms Friday night. Saturday, 40% chance. It's been a little bit cooler today with the cloud cover. It's 84 right now at KBNU. Napa Auto Parts has the items you're looking for, the parts you need, use, and rely on every day. Stop by your 5 locally owned Preston to Providence Napa Auto Parts stores.
We might all agree that a vacation to Vegas is good, but Hawaii is better. Same thing when you're building. Wood is good, but metal is better. If you're considering a new building for your farm or business, let Northern Steel Building show you the benefits of metal. Metal is stronger with little or no maintenance, and it doesn't burn. Find out how affordable a metal building really is by visiting northernsteelbuilding.com. That's northernsteelbuilding.com, or call 435-677-7300.
KBNU News Time is 4:07. A small plane that plunged into a lake that straddles the Utah-Arizona border, killing 2 people and injuring 5, was carrying 6 French tourists plus a pilot, authorities said Tuesday. Kane County Sheriff's officials said that witnesses reported seeing the plane out of Page crash into Lake Powell near Face Canyon shortly before 5:30 p.m. Saturday. FAA officials said in a statement that the pilot of the single-engine Cessna 207 reported an engine problem before the plane went down. The aircraft was located in 120 feet of water, and Kane County authorities said 2 people died in the submerged aircraft. Authorities said the pilot and witnesses were able to get 4 passengers out of the water and into boats after the crash. They said 3 passengers suffered serious injuries and were airlifted to St. George Regional Hospital, while 2 people with minor injuries were transported by boat to Antelope Marina and then to Page Hospital. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board are investigating the cause of that crash. And one of Utah's favorite burger spots opened in Logan yesterday, and a father and son from Salem, Utah, made sure they were first in line. In-N-Out's new Logan restaurant held a grand opening yesterday morning with plenty of fanfare, including Chris and Carson Hickman, who set up camp on Monday. While the store officially opened around 10 a.m., employees opened a little bit early due to the line that was slowly building up throughout the week. For the Hickmans, the need to be first inside sprouted from when Chris used to hang out with his own dad at an In-N-Out in California, at In-N-Out restaurants across California, and hopes to continue that tradition with his own family, including 14-year-old Carson. Carson told Fox 13 that while he was technically the second customer to order at the counter, he was on the same ticket order as his father. The father and son said it was worth it, despite very little sleep during the past few days. As for the Hickman's order, grilled onions, mustard fries, large Coke, and a chocolate shake. KBNU News Time is 4:09. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Dave Ramsey from 6 till 9 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
It started out as free.
But then they said it would only be a few cents a day.
What you're hearing is real, and it may be happening to you.
I pay for streaming video, then the cloud storage, then streaming audio. Where does it end?
It ended up being a lot every month.
This is the sound of nickel and diming syndrome. It's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
I just want to hear my music. Is that so wrong?
There is hope. For millions of people, there's radio.
Radio?
Radio. With 0 down and 0 per month. Radio delivers all the news, music, and entertainment you want, when you want it, for free. No usernames, passwords, or Wi-Fi connections required.
Here's my card number. It's 735...
Shh! Don't speak. When you listen to local radio, you'll never need that.
This is so wonderful.
Yes, it is. The cure for nickel and diming syndrome.
Oh, I could use a hug.
It's radio. No subscription required.
I'm a wife and the mother of 2 kids, and I've got a good job.
Bye, Mom. See you, Mom.
A pretty important job. Because of my family and my job, I really care about this neighborhood. It's a good neighborhood. Yes, there's some crime. And when I drive to work, like now, I realize that some people here don't trust the police. So the police should be reaching out to this community, and this community should reach out to the police. That's the way to make this a safer place. And when I get to work in the precinct house and put on my uniform, I can tell you, as a police officer, that this department is reaching out to the community, and the community is doing its part. We're building partnerships. This should be happening everywhere. This is how we can all be safer. Get involved. Start the conversation.
Start the conversation and help stop crime. To learn the 5 things you can do, go to ncpc.org/preventviolentcrime. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cash Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have 2 guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. Thursday, August 18th. I'm Jason Williams. Bill Walter here in the studio as well. Speckles of rain throughout the valley here and there today. Not anything significant, just enough to ruin your windshield. But overcast.
Of course.
Yeah, and maybe some more
but
in the coming days. But
stayed out in the 90s.
Yeah, actually felt pretty decent out there today. But
although, yeah, it has been to 88. I don't know when
pretty
that
close.
happened. Maybe when the sun peeked through for a few minutes.
It's like East Coast humid, though, so it feels a little warmer than that.
A little muggy.
Yeah. Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio to start us off today. Coming up, we'll hear from some folks to talk to us about Trout and Berry Days, kicking off this Saturday and then the following Saturday and Sunday or Friday and Saturday, sorry. So starting this Saturday the 20th and then continuing next Friday the 26th and Saturday the 27th, Trout and Berry Days 2022 is underway, or will be underway. They'll be talking to us in hour 2 about what they've planned new for this year's festival there in Paradise. Also, highlights from the governor's news conference today. It was a very personal news conference. The governor lost a friend to suicide this week. This also happened to be a friend of mine, someone long-time Politico, involved in various ways as an activist and just a good friend of a lot of people who have been involved in Utah politics and transparency policy. Took his life this week, and his family said they wanted that message to get out. They wanted people to know so that productive conversations about preventing suicide could happen. The governor took a few minutes during his news conference today to speak exactly to that and what getting this news this week was like for him. So that's coming up in hour 2 as well. Highlights from the governor's remarks. Right now, though, something far more lighthearted to talk about: theater, arts, entertainment, and more here in Cache Valley. And Charlie, before we get into the theater stuff, I just have to take a personal moment here because I'm disappointed. I'm a huge fan of the Eden Balloon Festival, and it was supposed to take place this weekend. If you've never seen this, it's actually really fun to see. It's like a county fair on Saturday night, but Saturday morning and Sunday morning they launched the balloons, so you get to see them flat on the ground and then filled and then flying. It's really cool, and it's fun, and they have like a festival-like environment. They canceled it this year because they weren't able to fundraise the money to pay the pilots. So if you're out there, representatives of Eden City, reach out to me. I'll promote that fundraiser for next year. Anyway, theater. I saw Les Miserables. You wrote about it already.
Yep.
These kids are talented.
And they've got pipes.
Wow, do they?
Boy, do they have pipes.
A couple of the ensemble pieces, I actually sat back in my chair a little bit
because they blast you out.
It was. I was just a few rows from the front, and it was loud. I mean, in a pleasant way, loud. And I learned one of the very, very funny actors was only 15 years old. Man, that kid has a future.
Yes.
It's going to be. I kept a program just for the sole purpose of having it for reference for names in the future as you see them pop up. And Madame Thénardier as well
was splendid.
That was probably my favorite part, I think. But for listeners out there, this plays tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday night, and then it's done. And there are only a few tickets for each show left. But if you don't have tickets, you will not be disappointed by this one. So, what else is up, Charlie?
Well, the folks at Pickville have taken the wraps off their fall program, and they're going to do the Addams Family again.
Really?
Yes.
I'm torn on this. I'm not disappointed, but I'm a little surprised. I thought that
they
solemnly
promised last year that this was the last year.
Yeah,
they weren't going to do it again.
Yeah, supposedly it was public outcry that made them do it that one last time, right?
Well, public outcry had its way again.
Apparently. That's funny.
They've got a really funny 3-part cliffhanger video that they've put up on their website where Whitney Davis and her husband Derek Davis are there, and they're about to announce that they're going to do a new fall show, and then suddenly Gomez Addams and Morticia break in, take them hostage, and declare that we ain't going nowhere.
That is funny.
Of course, that's Whitney and Derek in costume, of course. So they're being taken hostage by themselves. But, what the heck?
That is very
all
funny.
in good, clean fun.
It won't be disappointing. But I did kind of want to see what they came up with different. I was hoping for something.
I'm trying to think of what other musical could you do?
Yeah.
For Halloween.
Thriller wouldn't work for them, for Pickville.
No, of course not.
It's a dancing thing, yeah. I don't really know. And I don't, personally, I don't care. I've seen people try to do it. I have never seen a production of The Nightmare Before Christmas that worked. For me, not a fan. The movie's great. I didn't
like the movie.
You didn't like the movie either? Yeah, that one isn't compelling to me. It's not as fun as these holiday shows are supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they do Addams Family well, but
they certainly do, and everybody's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay,
really?
Kinsey is going to play Wednesday again.
Wow!
Last year, Caitlin Walsh played that part.
Okay,
but Kinsey has a new name. She and Nathan Kremen got married this summer, and she is now Kinsey Davis Kremen.
Really?
And her husband's going to play, Nathan is going to play Lucas, the kind of dim bulb.
Yeah. The dorky one.
The dorky one, yes. But after that, it's all hands on deck, Derek is going to play Gomez. Whitney is going to play Morticia. James Case will be back to do Lurch. Dan Call is back to do Fester. There's a couple newcomers. Jackson Haney is going to be Pugsley, and Whitney Davis Folkestone is going to come in as Alice, the future prospective mother-in-law of Wednesday. It's going to be fun. What the heck?
That's the thing. You can't hear this news and go, well, dang it, because it's going to be good. But yeah, I wanted to see what they did instead. But I mean, that's an excellent point you make, because I'm sitting here racking my brain. What would they do?
What else would you do?
And that's a good point, because they're, as far as Halloween themed holiday shows that are in the Pickville vein too. It has to be somewhat comedic. You can't get up there and do a horror production. There's not a lot else.
Well, you think about things like Hocus Pocus and Nightmare Before Christmas and all that jazz. They're movies. Nobody's made. God knows. Don't mention this to the Disney people, or they'll go out and make them. But nobody's made musicals out of them yet.
That's right. Yet. That's this listener saying, "What about Sweeney Todd?" That's kind of dark. It's kind of
dark.
I mean, Pickville, they usually try to stay away from that.
Dark.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, murder, cannibalism.
Yeah. I guess
that's dark.
They could maybe Pickville it up a little bit, but you'd have to change a lot.
You'd have to change a lot.
A lot of throat cutting in that play.
Yeah. And cannibalism.
Cannibalism. That gets forgotten all the time. But yeah, he eats them. Well, they eat them.
Everybody eats them.
That again is the news from Pickville. Their fall show is once again, after the last fall supposedly, they're doing Addams Family. It again won't be disappointing. It will sell out and
precisely.
Yeah,
you've got this smash show that sells out. It sold out in 2019 and 2020 with everybody having to wear masks.
Yeah.
21.
That's.
Maybe
they should just own it and say we're doing this every fall. Make it part of their regular lineup.
Call it a tradition.
Yeah, just as well. 753-5868 if you'd like to join us talking theater here in northern Utah and Cache Valley with Charlie Schill. You can read Charlie's work each and every day at CacheValleyDaily.com. News stories, theater reviews, and more. In fact, currently a review there of the best of the best high school kids performing Les Miserables for another 3 days in Cache Valley at the Utah Theater. If you haven't seen it, the tickets are sparse. It's selling out some nights. But a few left for tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday night's show. You won't be disappointed. These are some very talented kids. We'll be back right after this.
This year, celebrate your anniversary with diamond jewelry from S.E. Needham Jewelers. Diamonds are a lasting gift and will be passed to future generations. When you shop our store, you'll enjoy a large selection of diamond bands, diamond pendants, and diamond earrings. Or perhaps this is the year to remount your diamond in a new one-of-a-kind wedding ring. Design it yourself and have one of our goldsmiths make the perfect ring. If you're in the market, come today. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
My name is Gloria Nadal, and I chose Roof Rescue. They exceeded my expectations because they were able to follow through with the insurance company, establish a rapport, and ultimately the insurance company took responsibility and paid for my roof to be replaced. The products that they use were top-notch. My roof is beautiful. I would recommend them over and over again. My name is Gloria Nadal, and I encourage you to choose Roof Rescue.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, In cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I've been driving trucks for a long time. Safety is my #1 priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
I am one of over 40 million Americans with migraine. A migraine is not just a headache. A migraine attack can last for hours or even days, often with sensitivity to lights and sounds or nausea and vomiting. Thankfully, there is help for migraine. Learn more at headachemigraine.org. Now is the perfect time to find out if what you have may be migraine. Visit headachemigraine.org, sponsored by the Coalition for Headache and Migraine Patients.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Charlie Schill here in the studio with us this hour. You're welcome to join us, 753-5868. Talking arts, entertainment, theater, and more. And we just talked a little bit about the announcement just this week from Pickville that the Addams Family would yet again be their fall production. No official announcements yet on their other holiday plans, but they will have them, I'm sure. And we also talked a bit about the high school kids performing Les Miserables at the Utah Theater for the last week and for 3 days more until Saturday evening. Definitely worth your time. They are talented. I heard that Monday night they had some technical difficulties with the show, but what I saw Tuesday night, man, was flawless, especially for that age. And what's next on the docket?
The opening night of Les Mis. It wasn't flawless. They had a few. They had props that got away from them.
Oh,
and there was almost a absolute disaster when Javert was climbing a set of stairs and somebody had not set the brakes on the stairs, and the thing started to swing.
Oh,
but they handled it like pros.
They covered
That's beautifully.
Cool. I was thinking about it. There were some big props on that stage.
Yeah.
And I thought of that as they're swinging some of those huge wooden boxes around and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, what if one of those goes over? I thought it was also great. I was curious about this, being the high school version of Les Miserables. I was curious how they'd handle things like, spoiler alert, Javert's suicide. And things like that. It was very creative.
It was very creative. I think it was intended to not trigger anybody in the audience.
Yeah.
But he, spoiler alert, he just drops the hat off the top of the stage and then the lights go out.
Yeah. I thought that was...
I thought it was very well done.
I thought so, too. So they convey the same plot point because you have to have that happen for the plot. But yet it wasn't. Yeah, I just thought that was handled well. And I also love that they didn't shy away from some of the, because they're some of the funniest scenes. The song and dance number at the end with the Thénardiers is one of the, I still think, whether you're a Les Miserables fan or not, it's one of the funniest sequences in a stage production, just that sequence.
Mm-hmm.
It's Les Miserables can be a little over the top for me.
Yeah.
You can only cry so many times in a play before it's like, you're doing this to me on purpose.
I can't recall if I've ever seen something directed by Stefan Espinosa before.
I don't know of. I did some Googling and couldn't find.
They've been keeping him secret.
Honestly, it was well done.
It was well done. And with 2 weeks of rehearsal?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
That's 2 weeks of rehearsal, from what I've heard, very little budget, and a small space, a small stage to do what is a big production.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was, and you wrote about this in your review too, I thought it was great how they modernized it in very subtle ways. Like all the revolutionary fighters are men and women. You know, something that Lloyd Webber was criticized for in the original production on Broadway. And although that was kind of historically accurate, and that was his defense, but yeah, I like how they modernized it a bit that way. And the kid, Gavroche, the young kid. That's another name I think people should maybe watch for. I predict a notable career for that kid.
Well, Hayden Henderson was Jean Valjean. And, he's a big, burly kid.
Yeah.
And you expect him to be a bass.
Yeah.
Or a baritone.
Very deep voice, yeah.
And he's singing first and second tenor like mad.
That was impressive to see.
It was very impressive to see.
Yeah, that was... It was, and again, as I mentioned already, finding out after the performance from my good friend Shelley Giddings, Castio Picher was there. Her daughter's in the production from Mountain Crest, and she part of the ensemble, I think. And she said, she told me that the kid that plays Monsieur Thénardier, 15 years old. And he steals the show when he's on stage. Doesn't steal the show. There's so much talent you couldn't. But when he's on stage, he owns the stage. And 15.
Yep.
That's it's talent. It's fun to see talent at that age, and then again to watch for them to pop up in other productions, and
I want to comment on Elena Schill. From Mountain Crest.
Yeah.
Oh, she was as Eponine, the little street waif. She's the daughter of the Thénardiers.
Yeah.
And
becomes a major character in her own.
Yeah, and just beautiful performance and love it. You know, the thing about it's almost a set piece. Everybody on in the show has their little moment when they get to sing solo.
Yeah.
They introduce the character, they create complications, blah, 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 and then the lights go out and they're alone on stage in the spot singing solo. And
it's kind of a surprise with her because she's been mostly a talking character to that point.
Yeah.
And then she let loose with that song. Which is one of the favorites of the play.
The trick with this show is when the people go into those solos, you're supposed to feel goosebumps.
Yeah.
And you do with these kids.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Especially her.
Yeah.
That performance was arresting. It was interesting to me because as she finished that last note and the lights go out, it was whisper quiet.
It could have heard a pin
in
drop.
that theater. Yeah, for quite a while, and then just
thunderous
an explosion
applause.
of applause. Yeah, it was that one definitely hit.
The song ends abruptly, but yes.
Yeah, it was just whisper quiet for a few moments, couple of seconds.
They did a terrific job. That's all you can say about it.
Definitely. And I'm glad you mentioned the directing too, because I really, that was part of the fun. Being really familiar with this, as most people I guess maybe are, I found myself watching very closely how they were handling that small stage and lack of budget for big props, and the direction was creative. I thought that was nice.
Yeah. in we've all seen Les Mis down in Salt Lake, and the barricade is center stage, is downstage where it occupies the most of the stage. People are climbing over it.
Yeah.
They couldn't do that in the Utah theater.
Sure.
So they had a smaller barricade, and it was in the background so that the rest of the show could proceed in the downstage.
Yeah.
And I expected to be disappointed in the barricade, and I wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
It's not that important.
No, that was, and I liked that they made the stage have a bit of perspective, so it actually looked longer than I've been on that stage for panels and things like that. I know it's not deep, but they made it look like it. The perspective made it look like it went back a lot more. I don't know. It was just really well done all around, especially because what kept rattling through my brain the entire time I'm sitting there is you saying on the show just the week before, they had 2 weeks before dress rehearsals, right?
1 week before dress rehearsals.
So 1 week of week of actual rehearsing, then 1 week of dress rehearsals, and then they're live. That's there are seasoned, experienced actors who would not do well with that, and these kids pulled it off.
Stefan said the kids came in on August 1st, off book, and ready to rehearse.
That's amazing.
That's unbelievable.
That is honestly, I think that was the coolest part about it is you're seeing. I didn't even get a count of the entire cast, but
dozens.
Yeah,
dozens.
It was easily, and every single one of them just being there, that these are kids who are very serious about this. This is important to them. So you'll see their names. I guarantee it. All right. Take our news break, and there's a lot more to talk about. In fact, Charlie brought something interesting in today as well. We'll discuss a bit of a press release on some production seeking some local talent. And some of you out there might be interested or have kids that might be interested in upcoming holiday performance opportunity and more. There's a lot on the calendar still. We'll get to it all with Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio, right after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:37, and the news is brought to you by Logan Extermination. A Utah High School Athletics Association secretly investigated a female athlete without telling her or her parents after receiving complaints from the parents of 2 girls she had defeated in competition, questioning whether the girl was transgender. The Salt Lake Tribune reports that the Utah High School Activities Association and the girls' high school determined she was indeed female after poring through her school records dating back to kindergarten. The investigation occurred as at least 12 Republican-led states, including Utah, have passed laws banning transgender women or girls in sports. Utah's ban faces a court challenge. The family of a 12-year-old Little League World Series player from Utah who sustained a head injury after falling from the top bunk of his bed at the dormitory complex says he has been moved from the intensive care and is able to walk with support. Easton Oliverson, a pitcher and outfielder for the Snow Canyon team out of Santa Clara, Utah, suffered the injury Monday and was originally listed in critical condition, but a post on an Instagram account the family set up to share updates said he is back in a standard hospital room and can communicate with his parents. Little League International also approved the team's decision to add Easton's brother to the roster in his place. And the University of Idaho wants to build the nation's largest research dairy and experimental farm in south-central Idaho. University President Scott Green, in a presentation to Governor Brad Little and other members of the Idaho Land Board on Tuesday, said the proposed Center for Agriculture, Food, and the Environment will help support growth of the dairy and other industries in the state. The school wants the Land Board to use $23 million from the 2021 sale of 282 acres of Agricultural College endowment land in Caldwell to buy 640 acres of farmland in Minidoka County. The board is expected to take action on the matter in September. KBNU News Time is 4:39.
As the summer's war against weeds and pests rages on, a new bug threat starts hopping around, destroying garden plants and flowers. Luckily, you are ready for them with Logan Extermination's Perimeter Grasshopper Control. It's like a minefield for the minute menace.
Good job, men. Another bug bites the dirt. Let's regroup before the next wave hits.
They do what they are trained to do. Strike terror into termites, bash the bed bugs, and cook the cockroaches. Remember the brave men and women at Logan Extermination. Call 752-8450.
Treatment areas vary. Call for a quote today.
KBNU weather for tonight, mostly cloudy skies, slight chance of showers and thunderstorms, low around 60. 30% chance of showers and storms in the afternoon on Friday, partly cloudy, upper 80s, and a slight chance of storms Friday night and Saturday afternoon as well. We've stayed out of the 90s. It's been to 88. Right now it's 85 at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. They have the items you're looking for that you need, use, and rely on every day, and hard-to-find items as well at your 5 locally owned Preston to Providence Napa Auto Parts stores. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com. Let's get the latest on Wall Street now from Edward Jones.
This is Rochelle Hanks bringing you the Daily Financial Market Report on behalf of financial advisor Tron Arnold and Edward Jones for Thursday, August 18th. Stocks tick higher. Stocks closed out a hair higher today after yesterday's sell-off as the market tries to resume its rally. Yesterday's market action was driven by retail sales data, and investors are looking for further insight to consumer spending from today's earnings results from retail giants like Kohl's and Costco. The path of least resistance seems higher at this point, as investors believe we've already seen a peak in inflation. Bond yields are lower after the release of the Fed minutes, trading around 2.9% on the U.S. 10-year. Oil prices moved higher on a stronger demand forecast, lessening recession fears somewhat. And on the international front, European shares were higher while Asian markets were lower. U.S. equities closed higher today. The Dow closed up 21 points at 34,001. The Nasdaq closed up 27 points at 12,965, and the S&P closed up 10 points at 4,284. And in the bond market, 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 2.88%. In stocks of local interest, Thermo Fisher is down $1.03 at $595.05. Home Depot is down 55 cents at $325.21. Autoleave is up $2.22 to $84.40. Lowe's is up $1.10 to $216.47. Walmart is down 45 cents to $139.07. Nucor is up $2.07 to $142.54. Coca-Cola is up 34 cents to $65.22. Kroger is up $1.07 to $49.62, and General Electric is down 71 cents to $79.21. In commodity markets, the price of crude oil was up $2.44 to $90.55, and the spot price of gold was down $4 to $1,773. This has been today's Financial Market Report, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, member SIPC, and financial advisor Tron Arnold, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice at 1202 South Highway 89 in Logan. If you would like additional information, please contact any of our 7 Edward Jones offices in Logan, Providence, and Smithfield. Daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Kashinka. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. As Republicans rail against the FBI over last week's Mar-a-Lago search for documents, why they're taking their anger out on the IRS, why Congress is far from done with messy fights over health care, and Ticketmaster's dynamic pricing is infuriating fans. Who's to blame? That's Friday on This Morning, America's First News.
From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Talking with Charlie Schill here in the studio about theater in Cache Valley. A lot of announcements, a lot of things on the calendar. We've covered quite a bit. What's next, Charlie? I know you want to talk about this at a certain point, right?
Well, go ahead.
Should we get right to it?
Sure.
This was a press release Charlie brought in, but the announcement is that a company called Ballet Aligned is holding auditions for a new ballet the night before Christmas. This will premiere in December for Cache Valley audiences, and the audition is actually coming right up August 25th, so 1 week from today, 6 to 8:30, and they're asking for dancers, and quote, dancers and performers of all types, which is pretty vague. I assume on purpose. So the cool thing about this, though, is that this ballet-aligned production of The Night Before Christmas will be presented as a benefit for the Little Lambs Foundation. I love them. This is a nonprofit here in Cache Valley, and they're focused entirely on helping children who have been placed in foster care or entering emergency shelters like the Family Place or even sometimes CAPSA, and escaping domestic violence, basically. Little Lambs Foundation does a lot of good for them. So this production will be a benefit for the Little Lambs Foundation and an opportunity for Cache Valley residents. Again, performers and dancers of all types are invited to attend the audition 1 week from today, 6 to 8:30 p.m. And I don't see where. That's the one thing missing from their press release here. We'll find out about that. But I know
audition is Thursday, August 25th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the Ballet Aligned Studios.
Okay.
Which is at 1115 North, 200 East.
Makes sense. Okay.
Studio number 2320 in Logan.
Oh, very nice.
That's one of those strip mall deals.
That is okay. Yeah. And I just Googling it here. If you weren't riding fast as Charlie read that, or if you're driving, you can actually Google Ballet Aligned, and that same address shows up here. So this is very cool. Again, a benefit fundraiser for the performance will be a benefit fundraiser for the Little Lambs Foundation. They do good work, and auditions underway next Thursday, August 25th, at the Ballet Aligned Studio here in Logan. That's very cool news. I like this. The performance itself. A date yet to be set, it looks like, but the audition is just a week away. This is interesting. They're describing this as an original Once Upon a Storytime ballet. I'm curious.
Who knows what that means?
A lot of mystery surrounding this, probably on purpose, but very nice. All right, what's next on the calendar? I know the calendar's full still.
Well,
I lost my calendar.
I guess what we should be talking about now is your favorite, Singing in the Rain.
I'm so excited. I loved your article on this. You're basically saying in your article, look, this is so well known, this is so well loved for people who would be interested in seeing it at least. Very little margin for error.
Well,
they have to do this right.
The thing is that the musical isn't quite the movie. Okay?
Yeah.
There are things they did in the movie that, there's no possible way you could duplicate them on stage. Yeah. That imaginary sequence with Gene Kelly dancing with Sid Charisse in the Hollywood Melody thing.
How would you do that?
Whoa, out the window. I mean, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But they've substituted some new music and that sort of thing. The more I think about it, you just have to say, wow, they're taking a chance doing this.
Yeah.
Now, Music Theater West is good. I mean, they've got Jay Richards doing their music. They'll have a big band.
Which is kind of fun for this, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is a big band show.
But the dancing is daunting. That's all there is to it. I mean, everybody is going to be looking to see what's his name? Oh, come on. Logan McKenna is going to have to do that Gene Kelly dance in the street for Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
And that's got to be iconic. It's got to be good.
Yeah.
Everybody is going to expect to see a dance for Good Morning, like Donald O'Connor and Gene Kelly and Debbie Reynolds doing that dance.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is I was doing some research on this. Debbie Reynolds was 19 years old when that movie was made.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I should have known. I should have put two and two together there. Yeah.
And her background was as a gymnast, not as a dancer.
Really?
And Gene Kelly ripped her another, whatever you want to. Gene Kelly was not charitable about how badly she danced, or when they started this.
I'd read about that he almost left the production because he was so irritated with her lack of ability.
Well, supposedly,
that's interesting.
And this is Fred Astaire came in to see Gene Kelly one day on the set, and he found Debbie Reynolds sitting under a piano crying.
Oh, really?
And he said, "What are you doing?" And she told him that she wasn't a very good dancer. And he said, come on. And he taught her how to dance. See, the thing is, there was an outfit called the Freed Unit in the MGM studio, and they were kicking out musicals like mad. That was their business, and all of the music in this show was recycled. It had been in things like Holiday Cavalcade of 1932 and all these kind of things that the Freed Unit used to create.
Interesting.
So they were putting these things together. There's not much original music in this.
So they basically made a movie as a vehicle for
dancing.
Dancing,
sure.
And that's interesting.
But when they were casting it, they said, "Oh, let's get Gene Kelly," and they got Gene Kelly interested, and they got Donald O'Connor interested, and they saw this young girl and they thought, "Oh, she'd be cute. She's really nice. Let's get her." So they get Debbie Reynolds, and somebody says, "Wait a minute, she can't dance." And they said, "Oh, let Kelly teach her to dance. He can teach anybody."
That's very cool.
What they didn't count on was, he was
kind of
something of a jerk.
Sort of mean about it, right?
And the story I've heard is that he never got better with age. When he was doing Xanadu in the 1980s with Olivia Newton-John, she was such a klutz.
Yeah.
He didn't want anything to do with her.
I had read that before, that she was also not on his list for good dancers. So funny. This is the history behind all of these. It makes sense of a lot of things. Actually, we should throw this out for listeners. Singing in the Rain runs September 16th through the 24th, and it's cool to know some of the background on this. That I didn't know that it was kind of more of a vehicle for existing content and songs.
Yeah,
not an original. That's interesting.
But they took one song from here and one song from there, and they put them together.
Very cool. This is, again, as Charlie said, Music Theater West. Their production of Singing in the Rain, September 16th through the 24th. Tickets are on sale for this, and it's not what you'd call sold out yet, so plenty of time, but maybe get on that fast. You also have, this running around the same time, Cash Theater. We talked about this last week. Cash Theater's Little Mermaid, August 26th through September 1st. And then coming up late September, 26th through 27th, Thriller is back. Plenty to talk about here. Before we go to our last break, I do have to clarify one thing. An apology to one of the actors in the high school Best of the Best high school performer production of Les Miserables at the Utah Theater, which runs until Saturday, and you should go see if you can. I had said that my good friend Shelley's daughter, who was a great performer and was in this production, was from Mountain Crest. Well, there's a rivalry between the schools, and she is not from Mountain Crest. She's from Ridgeline. So I promised Shelley that I would clear that up. She is a Ridgeline student performing, and from Mountain Crest you have the young woman who plays Eponine. So
Yes.
Just wanted to clarify that. Shelley, I hope that makes things better. Shelley Giddings, our good friend, Cassiope Chair, she keeps us on our toes here, and we need that. We'll be back right after this.
Monday, August 22nd, come help ignite the light with Alex Boyer as he performs a free concert at the Cache County Fairgrounds, bringing positive support to suicide prevention. Suicide affects all walks of life, backgrounds, and age demographics. Join Alex Boyer Monday, August 22nd for a free concert bringing attention to suicide prevention and a new national suicide and crisis lifeline, 988. If you think you may need help or just want to talk with someone, call 988. Donations of any size are accepted and welcome to help make this event possible. Go to CacheValleyIgniteTheLight.com for concert details and donation information. The outpouring of support for this event last year was unbelievable. Business and individual donations are vital for the 2022 event. Join Alex Boyer at the Cache County Fairgrounds Monday, August 22nd for a free concert bringing attention and positive support to suicide prevention. Donations of any size are accepted and welcome. Go to CacheValleyIgniteTheLight.com for concert details and donation information. That's CacheValleyIgniteTheLight.com. And thank you for making this event possible.
Believe it or not, a high-quality furnace air filter will reduce the amount of dust and pollen carelessly floating around in your home. John at the Duck Hunter says, always buy a higher quality air filter. If you can see through a filter, you probably should pass on it. If you're not sure about which furnace air filter to buy, give John a call. He only carries the highest quality, which will reduce the dust and pollen in your home. For a free consultation, call the Duck Hunter at 770-4813.
We are the Duck Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home. We are the Duck Hunter.
Coming up on the Friday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, they're going to unseal parts of the affidavit. What are the Democrats claiming about this now? How is the media trying to run with it? Plus, Clay, what have you got?
We'll break down the absolute latest on that affidavit, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. The latest on the Senate and the House races from lovely Salt Lake City. Come hang with us on the Friday edition of Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Representatives of Paradise's Trout and Berry Days coming up in hour 2 of today's show. Also highlights from Governor Cox's monthly news conference where the governor got a little personal today in remarks about a friend of his, and incidentally a friend of mine as well, who took his own life this week, a longtime Politico here in Utah. So highlights of his remarks coming up in hour 2. Right now, Charlie Schill, our guest in the studio. You can read Charlie's reviews and news stories each and every day at CacheValleyDaily.com. Charlie, just a couple minutes left here. Maybe a preview of what's to come.
One thing we should make clear while we're in the process of apologizing, the Little Mermaid is not strictly it's a CTC production.
Sure.
But that's an all-youth production, all teens, all high school kids.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so we're gonna get another chance to look at young talent.
That's very cool. And that is one way you can actually make The Little Mermaid interesting. I'll say it because I know you don't want to. I kid. I know this is a really popular play.
But not with us.
No, it's just not our thing, and it would be dishonest to pretend otherwise. But no, now I feel obligated to see this just so I can say, okay, they're talented. I'm sure they are. Cache Theater Company never goes wrong. I don't think they've had a miss in years. So.
Matilda.
Oh, yeah, that was...
Matilda.
Yeah. I think some lessons were learned on that one. Thanks to everyone who tuned in today. Please stay tuned. Guests representing Trout and Berry Days happening in Paradise starting this weekend, kicking off hour 2 of today's show. Thanks to Charlie for his time. You can read his work each and every day at CacheValleyDaily.com. Theater reviews, news stories, and more. And we'll be back with more of For the People right after this here on KVNU Logan.